Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for joining us today to discuss Medicare Leads. I am Christy Wilbert, the Vice President of URL Insurance Group for Medicare Offerings, and I have been in the insurance industry for about 18 years. At one time, I was an agent just like you, so I know the importance of getting a good lead and making sure that those leads are coming in consistently. So what my job is today is to make sure that once you get those leads, that you know what to do with them. So this webinar is going to be great for people that are new in the business or even people with mature books of business that are just looking to grow them. Okay, so I've decided to kick off the year and make January our marketing month. So we're going to have one webinar a week and kind of really drill in and focus on one thing that you can be doing marketing-wise to help build your book of business. Today, we're going to solely focus on Medicare Leads. Next week, we're going to fully focus on grassroots marketing. So join us next week on that topic. I hope that you guys use the beginning of the year to really put together a business plan and decide what are your goals, how are you going to obtain those goals, and step by step, kind of little fragments of what you're going to do, because a goal without a plan is just a dream. And I want to make it my job to make sure that you have a plan. I want to walk you around the screen a little bit today. We are using a new platform, so bear with me as I learn and probably fumble through this a little bit. But you'll see Steve and he's here, our guest speaker today from LeadConcepts. And then you're going to see the slides that we're presenting to you today. Along the bottom right, you should see a little chat box. You can go ahead and click on that now. It's going to open up a screen that will show you a place to do question and answers. Keep in mind those questions are going to be seen by everybody, so it's like a group chat. You can message us privately. There's an area for that too. And then you'll also see handouts that you can take away today. You can download them to your computer. And then there is a poll section as well, because we are going to take a poll here today. I'm just going to move on to our first slide, which is about URL. Who are we? If you're unfamiliar with us, we've been an FMO since 1986. FMO stands for Field Marketing Organization. If you're in the Medicare world, if you're in insurance and annuities, they call it an IMO, or group health, it's a GA. So we have a million different meanings, but basically an insurance brokerage. So we market, sell, and distribute insurance products. Right there, you see our logo. It is the shape of a heart. It's you, us, and your clients, because it reminds us that our passion is to help people and help them feel secure and safe in the products that we're servicing. Okay, so before I go into this slide, I want to do the poll. So I'm going to launch that now. I'm really curious just to see how many of you are investing in leads and how often that you're doing that. Please be honest. So there's 4 options there for you. Yes, always and consistently, which I strongly feel like that might stay at 0%. B, yes, a few times a year. I hope to see that one. And then C, yes, very little, or D, no, not enough. All right, we have some answers coming in. So I'll go back to that after I see all the answers. But the importance of leads, let's talk about why we're here today, okay? If you are a new agent and you're talking to other agents and trying to get ideas, a lot of answers that you'll get from them if they're established is, I just live off referrals.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't market at all. I just get referrals. And it's like, okay, that is the dream, right? The dream is to get to that place where you don't have to market at all. You're just living off referrals. But let's be honest. If you are just living off referral business, you aren't marketing. So you're not writing as much business as you could. So you're kind of skating by. Sorry if that insults some of you out there that are just doing it that way, but that is the truth. Most top producers that are looking to consistently be growing their book are buying leads. I mean, they're doing something. They're doing some sort of marketing to new people, because you have to if you want to continue to grow your book. Writing more business, you have to make more appointments. That's common sense, right? If you only have 2 appointments a week and maybe you're only closing at 50%, you're only going to write 1 policy a week. Nobody can live off that. Just to give you a good expectation, I feel like the average agent's goal should be 10 or 15 sales a month. Everybody wants to know what that number is. That's my personal opinion. There are people that write way more than that and they're doing extravagant. And then there's people that don't. And maybe it's not their only way of income, so that's fine too. And most importantly, I can't highlight this enough, it needs like underline and explanation point, is to find a vendor that you trust. That's why we have Steve here today. You can't do it without a vendor that's, responsive and they have a good team behind them and they know what they're doing, because they're an expert in their field, just like you're an expert in your field. So you need somebody behind you like Steve.
Yay, thank you.
You're very welcome. And before I turn it over to him, I just want to go over a little bit how to get leads. Okay. So number 1, of course, is marketing. And when I say marketing, I mean anything that is tangible, anything in paper form, anything in digital form, anytime you can get your name out there and really show off your brand. Okay. They have little signs that you can put on the grocery carts at the grocery store, up to a big billboard. You can do ads on YouTube now. You can do ads on Facebook for free. There's a lot of ways to do marketing. You just have to use your creativity. The next one is community. You really need to get involved. You can't sit behind your desk all day at the office and think the phone is just going to ring. The big agents know that. You need to get out there and get involved in your town. Join a referral group. They usually have those in every county where everybody does a different thing for a living and you refer each other business. Get involved in your local YMCA. Join an aquatics gym membership and go, you have to think outside the box. Besides just your typical educational seminars and your senior expos, of course, those are always great things to do as well. I mentioned joining that group. So networking is another one. You got to know who else is doing insurance locally. So visit those agencies. Literally just walk in the door and see where there's holes in both of your agencies that you can refer business to each other. And, insurance industry is a very small world. You're going to continue to run into each other. You're going to hear the person's name from clients. So just make sure that you have good relationships, because relationships are everything. And you don't have to just network with other insurance agents, but other businesses in the area. Your local furniture store or your local auto store or dentist office or pharmacy. Those should all be relationships and things that you should be doing each week to make sure that you're continuing on that relationship. Just going out and eating breakfast at a diner one time doesn't mean they're going to let you do meetings there. You need to become a regular there. Maybe you decide every Sunday I'm going to go have breakfast here and make sure that they feel that I'm patronizing their business so that they're going to want to do the same for me. Referrals, the unattainable goal that you want to get. Don't be afraid to ask for referrals. If at the end of the meeting, your person is just thanking you up and down at how great of a job you did, make sure you're leaving a few business cards with them and you're asking them, the best compliment you can give me is to give me a referral. This is how I pay my bills. This is how I support my family. There's no shame in that. Everybody works for a living. And then purchase leads. Leads are actually cheap. It's what you do with them that's going to cost you money. And that is where you're going to see the return on your investment. And that's why we have Steve here today to show you what you can do with them. So I'm going to turn it over to Steve.
Thank you. Oh, look at that.
There you go.
Okay. So my name is Steve Weir. I'm with LeadConcepts, and I don't know how many people are on or who's met me before, but I've been many times to Harrisburg and visited with the team. But LeadConcepts is more than just a lead provider when we are talking specifically about, white cards that you get in the mail. So I wanted to visit with all of you about all of the different things that are available to you, whether I do them or not, so that, they're available. Christy is very right. And when she says you can't do just one thing, you have to do 3 or 4 different things. And part of that should be direct mail. And in that direct mail, is it a response lead? Is it somebody who's calling you? Is it driving people to maybe a seminar that you're having? So I want to visit on all of these different concepts. And you guys have the ability to ask questions on the side. So if you want to ask some questions, feel free. Now, I don't really see them, Christy, where I am. I'm seeing like the full screen of my slides. So.
Okay, yeah, I'll let you know if one comes in.
Okay. So we have lots of different mailers that are available for you to mail. And I want to kind of scroll through some, but I just want you to keep in mind that if you call us and have a conversation, we'll email this kit to you so you can look at it very specifically and go over all of the details with you on the phone. So, but I don't want to, bog you guys down with too much information about specific advertisements. But you'll see this particular one is about dual eligible. We mail this to lower income seniors who would be looking to change or update their dual plans. Here's one that is specifically for people who are aging into Medicare in the next 5 or 6 months. This is an excellent return mail that we send out to those people. This particular one that you're seeing here is everybody who's 64 in your area. We're finding that the people aging into Medicare are way more responsive than they have been in the last 3 or 4 years. 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago when I did people turning 65, we had very strong responses. And then it seemed like everybody stopped responding to the specifics of people turning 65 because there was so much advertising in the turning 65 market. Where now, with all of the changes in CMS and what you can and what you can't mail, a lot of people have pulled back from their mail campaigns, and the aging into Medicare has bounced back up. So this particular mail campaign has been very strong for us, getting 2 to 2.5% in a lot of different areas. And they're specific to people who are 64, who you have tons of options on what you can do with them. Here's another one, a different version of that. This particular card, I know I'm going fast, but I don't want you guys to be stuck on anything. This particular card that we do is totally customized to you. And I think this is something that people don't understand that we do, is we customize the mailer cards for you. So it would have your photo, your name, your contact information. And it's a larger card than a lot of people think that you can do. It's 6 by 9. It's very attractive. And people simply read the information about you and what you provide to seniors in the area, and they call you.
Yeah, I love this, Steve, because it's personalized. I can't stress the fact of how important a photo is, because it humanizes you.
100%. Right. I can tell you we've been in business 30 years. I think this is our 31st year. The things that we marketed 30 years ago are very different from what we market now, especially through the changes of everything that happened when we were all, kind of stuck at home. Going to the mailbox was an event during COVID. So for about a year, people going to the mailbox was like, hey, I'm going to go outside and go to the mailbox. But a lot of people were seeing things that were suspicious. Seniors were home alone. They weren't interacting with too many people or their kids. And the number of people who started to do things that were, I don't want to say fraudulent, but they gave people the opinion that maybe this wasn't a real thing. Like, don't send this back. You probably have said to people, don't send anything back. Don't return any mailers. My mother's 81. And so when she was home during COVID, I told her, don't send anything back. I said, let me take a look at everything. But through all of that, what we found is that people are much more responsive to a photo of somebody. It's like a real person. They'll look you up. All of these people are on Facebook, basically. So they'll take a look and see who you are, see that you're a real business, that you have children and families and dogs and a house in the neighborhood, those sorts of things. So this type of a campaign, as Christy said, has really changed the way that we market, because for years, a generic mailer was perfectly fine. But it's not anymore. People want to know who you are. People aren't responding as much to the generics without any information about who you are, how long you've been in business, and for them to pick up the phone and call you to know that you're a real person. So this has been a big, big ad for us this year and last year, as people were trying to figure out how to get to people who are turning 65. Now, this is also good for the people who say, I really just want to work referrals. That certainly is a thing. It's when we do targeted direct mail and people send back 20 return cards, that means you have to call those 20 cards. Christy, how many times should they call those return cards?
7 times.
Yeah. This card you're looking at with your photo on it and your name and your phone number, you don't call the people 7 times. They call you, right? So this is much easier. You don't have all of the contact, tough part. Now, you're not going to get 20 calls, I'll tell you that, unless you mail 2,000 or 3,000, but you will get good, valuable response calls that you can close. So these are excellent this year. So if you'd like to know more about this one, just give us a call and we'll be able to go over the specifics and send you that. But it is an excellent mail campaign, and these types of mail campaigns are being seen more and more. This is the next thing that is very different this year and last year. When I say this year, I'm still stuck in 2022. Going into 2022 and 2023, we've done more and more mailers that you customize on your carrier website. So United Healthcare, Aetna, Humana, as you can see here, all of these companies have CMS approved. They're personal branded for you, but they also have their company name on it. A lot of people will go into their toolkit on these sites, add in the personal information, upload their photo, and it downloads to them a PDF. All you have to do is email us the PDF, and then we do all the printing, addressing, we get the list, we do the postage at the lowest cost, and then we mail it for you. So you don't have to mess with all of the addressing or buy a list and do all of those things. So there are lots of options. So if you'd like to talk more on that, please call and ask me about that, because there are some very good options. I will say that some people go into those websites and they get a little overwhelmed. Christy, do you have any people that help navigate through those?
Oh, yes, we can absolutely, or your broker manager with the carrier. But
Okay.
just to, this option is very cheap and easy. I can't stress that enough.
Right. And again, people are calling you. They get to know who you are. They see your face. They get your email, and they know who you are. And then they call you and they ask you questions about your program, your product, how long you've been doing it. So it's excellent. Plus, if you're doing one that is specific to a plan that is very strong in your area, there is a Turning 65 mail campaign through United Healthcare AARP Medicare Supplement. And there are a couple of agents that send those to me. Really, you only have to do it once, and then I have the mail campaign. Especially Medicare supplements, not as hard as getting things approved for MedSup than MA. But we mail to people with slightly higher incomes, people who are 64, about to be 65 in 4 months. And this particular agent, they mail probably 700 or 800. That's how many people they have in their target counties. So it's not always 1,000, but they get 6 or 7 phone calls and they sell more than half. And so it's the Medicare AARP is the United Healthcare MedSup is just very strong in some of these areas. So if you have a plan or a carrier or somebody who's very well received, these are excellent. So you definitely can lean into these and do very well without so much of the 7 call the people 7 times to get them on the phone part. That I hate to say that, but it is true. But some people will answer the first time you call, so it's fine. So it's not like every time you call somebody, nobody answers the phone until you've called them 7 times. But you don't want to just call them once and then move, then ignore it. If they don't answer, you call them again later, change when you call, do different things. And a lot of people are telling me that they'll text people as well. So there's several different ways that you can take a return mailer card and get to the people and try and get them to respond. So you don't show up as a spam caller that they just ignore all the time. So lots of different things that are available. This particular page it talks about our capabilities, but I want you guys to really see that we have the ability to mail any type of mailer for you at the lowest price, the lowest postage, and get you the best list. So we have tons of capabilities, but a lot of people think that we just do, little white postcards that come back like these things. These are excellent. They do well. We can add your name and phone number to any of these as well. So when somebody does want to check you out, they can look up you and your Facebook page and be able to know that you're a real person. We encourage that on all of our mailers, even if people can call you or send back a response card. So we have lots of different options to make sure people can get to you. But anything that you can think of or anything that you see or you get in the mail is something that we can do, because there are lots of different options. We do things in an envelope with a return envelope, and we have things that just go out as a postcard. We have large cards, small cards, letters with return cards. So anything that you can dream up, you can do. Now, I'm not.
Yeah, and I think it's important to mention, if you do use Steve and you buy your lead list, how good are those names with you, Steve?
Oh gosh, they're so good.
No, I mean, like, for how long?
I mean, when you get a return card back, that's your return card for as long as you want to work on it. But the lists that we're sending, when we send out to that list, we only send out one time. And if anybody wants a copy of the list, they can just request it and we'll send it to you. There's not a lot of phone numbers on the list anymore. There's so many restrictions on phone numbers. But you get the person's name and their address, their age, their month and year of birth, their income. So if they're in a low income, middle income, high income, you get an indicator of that. That's all on the list that we get for you. So, but you could use the list for anything you'd like for a year.
And so they could do multiple things with you using the same name list.
Right. Now the list is not terribly expensive. It's like 1,000 names is $25. Like when we're coupling it with a mail campaign.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm buying a list and doing a mail campaign for you, the most expensive part is the postage. The second most expensive part is the printing, especially if the printing is color printing, like if you do a photo thing. So trying to reuse a list isn't always the best option. It's certainly available, and there are definitely people who do that in areas where we only have so many people that are turning 65, and they would like to send out something to them when they turn 64, when they're 3 months later, 3 months later, 3 months later, because they just don't have that many names in the counties that they live in. Certainly like people in the Dakotas, and in some parts of Pennsylvania, actually, it's pretty scarce. There's not that many people. So
right, while you're talking about that, do you mind explaining the process of how you do break down the list?
Oh, sure. Every time you guys do a mail campaign, anytime anybody calls us to do a mail campaign, we will have a serious conversation about who we need to target, right? What age, what income, obviously what zip codes or counties. Certainly in the Medicare space, a lot of people want to be in certain counties over other counties, so counties can be a priority. But you can target it by specific individual zip code. And there are some people who are more comfortable with women. There are, in some cases, when we do life insurance mail campaigns for small life insurance plans for people who are doing final expense mail campaigns, single women are more likely to purchase. Single men they never purchase. Single men are very rare. Mailing to single men is typically not necessary. So we eliminate single men from those campaigns with the approval of our customer. But it seems like older men, when they get to a certain point and they're single, they don't care who pays for that or where they go when it's done. So we're very, very specific. I don't see in my slide deck, so I don't know if the marketing team pulled it or missed it, but some of the things that are very helpful this year, as well as what these are seminar campaigns. We have lots of different seminar advertisements that we can share with you that we've been doing for agents. So if you're going to do a Medicare 101, or whether it's AEP or if it's a quarterly thing where you're inviting everybody in your area to come and hear what you have to say about Medicare. It could be a dual seminar. Sometimes these carriers have preset mailers you can use to invite people to your dual mail seminar. So there are lots of different seminars that are available, and that's another way for the agents who don't want to run leads, because people say leads, 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 but a lead is so many different things. Driving 20 or 30 people to your location for your seminar is just as important. So if you don't do any seminars, you really might look into that. They're not too terribly difficult. They're not too terribly expensive. Certainly, you have limitations on what you can spend, for those. Christy, do you guys have things like Oak Street Health and those type of community centers that are built in with hospitals?
We do.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys do anything with them. Oh, I lost my screen. I don't know if you do anything with them, but man, they are amazing. They have those community centers. And if you don't have a relationship with those people or the people that are near you, then you probably should, look into that. Christy, do you have any people who are doing anything with those community centers?
Not with Oak Street. We did originally when they first came out. They're in like the Philadelphia market right now, so we don't have too big of an agent presence there.
Okay.
You have to be able to go and sit at the facility. So
Right. But they have, we have a lot in the Dallas-Fort Worth area where I am, and I see different people doing a meeting. Like they'll host a lunch and do some sort of a bingo meeting where they have a couple of hours where they kind of have the floor to visit with people. So there are lots of different things going on in that arena as well. So that's something you guys can watch for. And I know there's lots of different, I don't know what those are typically called, like, I call them a senior center with a hospital situation in it, but I know it's not really a hospital. It's a group of doctors, and they cater specifically to people who are on Medicare and mostly low-income Medicaid. So
yeah, Geisinger does something similar.
Right. So you want to look for what's happening, what's working. And honestly, seminars have been very strong. Not lots of people do them, but seniors are willing to go to them. They'll certainly go to an early lunch. So seminar campaigns. During AEP, I don't know how many of you are sitting in a Walmart, but we definitely have mailers that will drive people to those Walmarts. I don't usually put those into the slide deck until later in the year, but all of the things that you're doing to reach out to new clients, posting things on your Facebook page, all reinforce all of the things that you're doing. So if you're not doing anything on Facebook, or if you haven't posted anything in 6 months, I really encourage you to do those things. Christy, are you guys going to have some social media meetings this year or this month?
Oh yeah.
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 If you guys aren't registered for that, and if you're not super comfortable with those things, please register for that and sit in on those, because it's not difficult. It's totally free. And if you're going to do a mail campaign, or if one of your friends is going to refer you to somebody else, those people will want to look you up and see who you are. And you want to have a few things in there about you, and they need to be more social. They can be businessy and social. So definitely take some time to log into that meeting as well, because that's super reinforcing of all of the other marketing that you're doing. And it's totally free. That's absolutely free.
We did get a question, Steve. Cassie was curious where the leads come from and if they're the same leads that you get from another lead company.
Oh, I see. Okay. That's an excellent question. So we generate leads in-house. So in my office, we have a 20,000 square foot warehouse on the other side of the wall. And we have 52 people that work at LeadConcepts generating leads. And so we do the direct mail campaigns in-house. So anytime we design something for you, or you choose one of our mailers, we purchase the list from an outside vendor who specializes in good quality lists. And then we do everything else in-house. We do the printing, addressing, and mailing from our location. They get distributed by the post office to all the seniors in your area. And then whoever responds will either call you if that's your choice of campaign, or they'll send return cards back to us. They come back to us, our people in-house. We scan them and then email them to you every day. as we get them. The same day we get them, they're emailed to you. And so they are your leads. It takes me typically, if it's a return, if we do a mail campaign where a senior's got to return a card and we send it to you, from the day you ask me to do the campaign to the day you start getting responses in your email is typically about 4 weeks. And the biggest thing is that you are the only person who ever sees these leads. They are exclusive to you forever. So, last week, I think I was visiting with a customer I haven't spoken to in several years. He just doesn't need very many leads anymore. He's been doing it forever and he just doesn't need that many leads. Well, his son is in college and wanted to start doing some things, and he does life insurance. And so he said, "Oh, I need to do some leads for my son and get him started in the business." And I said, "Okay." So we did a campaign for him, but I told him, I said, "You also have all of the leads we've sent you over the 15 years that you did." He said, I said, "Do you still have any of those?" And he said, "Oh, I'm not sure." I said, "Well, we have them all on file." I said,
Wow.
"So let me send you the link to these so you can share them." And I told him, I said, "You can have your son call us and we'll give him the link and show him exactly how he can access all of that agent's leads." And he had hundreds of life insurance leads for senior life that his son was able to call and start to, build his own business from. There are leads that were 10 years old, but some of those people have the same phone number, same address.
Right. It's a
And
real
so,
person. They responded at one point.
yes, every time we do a campaign for you guys, it is 100% yours. We never resell them. Nobody ever sees them.
It's very cool, Steve. Thank you for sharing that.
I don't have anything on my screen anymore except for the Cisco meetings thing. So
Okay.
what's
I
on the
will
screen?
move on to my stuff. Oh, I'm at the end of my slides. Okay. So Steve and I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about best calling practices, because as we mentioned, sometimes the person is going to be calling you based off of the lead that you sent out, but sometimes you are going to have to be calling these individuals either warmly because you did mail them something like Steve suggested and they're coming back saying they're interested in a phone call. Or maybe you mailed them something and you never got a response, but they are one of those people that have the phone number attached in the name list that you purchased. So you can call, you can do cold calling for Medicare. Everybody's like, oh, that's a no-no because it says so in the AHIP. So it is a no-no to cold call if the intent is to sell a Medicare Advantage plan during that phone call. If your intent is to set an appointment, you aren't doing anything wrong. So make phone calls with that as the goal in mind, okay? Your focus is to set that Medicare appointment. So as Steve mentioned earlier, typically you might have to contact that person 7 times. That is the average, unfortunately. So be persistent, keep going. Don't give up after a call or 2. Let that be the other agent that gave up after 2 calls, and you're going to keep going. You're going to push through. We definitely recommend that if you do get the voicemail the first time, to just hang up and go ahead and call right back. Because when people do that, it's usually a sign that you do need to talk to the individual, so they're more likely to answer the phone. Also be careful with leaving voicemails. You don't want to leave too many. 1 or 2 is plenty. You can keep calling, just don't keep leaving voicemails. They got it, okay? You don't want to come off as too eager.
That's very true. And one of the things that I recommend, if I may, is that you kind of have an understanding of what your message is going to be. If you call them the first time and you get a voicemail, what's the first voicemail that you leave them? What does that sound like? And what does the second one sound like? If you do leave a third one, what does that sound like? I want you to be consistent on what the first touch, second touch, third touch, what do those sound like? So they're not all exactly the same and they don't sound disjointed. So be very specific about how you do that. But also, one of the things that we've found, people will take a photo of their response card and text it to the person before they call, or after they've called a time or 2. They'll send an actual photo of their response card. So and then they'll send in a text, just in a text, your name. So like if I were to text, like sometimes an agent will send me their phone number And if I just call them, they're going to get a thing that says unknown caller. But if I text them before I call with just a text that says my name, then when I call them, their phone says maybe Steve Weir, right? So it gives people an understanding. So I think that's helpful too. If you're not having luck getting somebody on the phone, to shift it, send them a text, send them a photo of their response card where they requested information with a text with your name, and then give them a call and see if they answer.
Right. And one of the good things in preparation, like Steve mentioned, so sometimes on the card that he's sending out, it might say like, are you getting all your Medicare benefits? Or are you aware of the new Medicare benefits that are available? So make sure you're mentioning that if you are leaving a voicemail or immediately when you call. And act like you know this person. You know, it's not, hey, Steve, it's Christy Wilbert from URL Insurance Group. You know, that they're already like, oh, insurance, I'm tuned out. You know, so it's, hey, Steve, it's Christy. I'm giving you a call because you were interested in knowing the new Medicare benefits. I'm calling to, you know, update you on that information or provide you that information. Because then you're calling them for a reason and you're opening with your reason. So they have expectations of the phone call immediately. And they're like, oh, I was interested in that. I remember that. And that's the way you get the appointment also. You know, say, I would love to give them to you. I have them printed. They're either here at my desk. Do you want to come into the office? I'm also going to give you a coffee mug, whatever you want to do. Can I bring them to your house? How's Tuesday at 2? You know, be prepared to set that appointment. Also, have things in your mind. If you're getting like troubleshooting, if you're getting the same question over and over again, or you're getting defeated because they're saying like, I don't remember doing that, or no, because I have a guest here. Can you call me back in an hour? Make sure that you are watching that clock and you're calling back in that hour. Show them that you can follow instructions and that you're reliable, and, you know, start beating those pain points to the punch. You know, if somebody's making the same complaint over and over again, or make sure that you have a response ready. You got to have those tools in your tool belt. Okay, I just have this up here because this is a gentleman that I have watched for years and years. This is like an hour-long cold calling presentation, but it is amazing. He's been in the industry for so long. It's a lead guru training. I recommend everybody watch it. It's extremely old, but still valid, and you'll get some great tips out of it. We reference it all the time. So I have it out here. This webinar is being recorded, so you can go back and watch it at any time as well if you need a refresher, or the link will be out there for you. And the last thing I wanted to mention, we do have our Medicare Connections Conference already scheduled at the Hershey Lodge. So I believe August 24th is a Tuesday, if I can remember. We tried to beat the holiday this week and try to be the first one that you're going to be coming to after everything has been rolled out. We are going to do it virtual and live again. And hopefully you enjoy and you participate, and LeadConcepts will hopefully be there. I don't know if you guys know this, but LeadConcepts comes to every single conference that under the sun that Medicare puts on all year round. Steve was telling me he basically lives in an airplane, him and his brother. So if you're going to choose a lead vendor, make sure that you're choosing Steve. And we really appreciate you being here today, Steve.
I appreciate the invitation. It looks like the 24th is a Thursday.
Oh, well, thank you for correcting me. I probably should have looked at a calendar.
Well, I didn't think about that either. I was like, oh, Thursday's nice. That means I can stay a little longer.
There you go. We'll go have a beer at Trogs afterwards.
There you go.
Or a chocolate martini. They're even better.
Oh, yes.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. And don't forget, on next Thursday, we have the Grassroots Marketing webinar, so sign up for it.
Yeah, if you guys want to find me, just go to LeadConcepts.com, and our phone number is there. It's, you know, obviously we have I think we have a TikTok, we have a Twitter, we have a Facebook, Instagram. Go check us out, and all of our contact information is right there. So call the 800 number. You can ask for me today. I'm in the office. I'm not always here, but I am if you'd like to visit with me personally today.
All right. Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Christy. Thank you, everybody, for joining.
Yes, thank you.